When we decide that we want to become a lawyer, usually the first question we get asked is, oh, what type of law? And that usually stops us in our tracks because we don't know what types of law there are out there, much less the type of lawyer that we ideally would like to be. And so let's put an end to that right now. I want you to stop this video and take 60 seconds to fill out the what type of lawyer should I be quiz. It's designed to give you a window into the best fit type of law for you. Don't worry, I'll wait. Welcome back. I'm so glad because now you have the first data point in the best type of law for you so that now as we walk through the different types of law and the different types of lawyers, you're going to know exactly what you just signed up for. So if you guys are excited to dive in, smash that like button and let's go. The first thing to know when it comes to the different types of law are the two biggest categories of law that encompass most of these practice areas. The first is litigation and the second is corporate law or transactional law. And when we talk about litigation, that is the area of the law that most of us are most familiar with because it forms the plot lines for some of the best TV shows and movies on the planet. Things like Law and Order, My Cousin Vinny, Legally Blonde, A Few Good Men. And so litigation refers to resolving disputes between two parties, usually in the context of a lawsuit. So party A suing party B. And this is also where lawyers get the reputation for arguing all the time, for fighting all the time, because litigation is inherently adversarial, meaning there is usually a winner and there's usually a loser. Now, there are dozens of different types of litigation, which we'll talk about in a minute. But when you think litigation, think reading cases, writing legal briefs, drafting direct examinations and cross-examinations, making oral arguments in court, all of the things that you traditionally associate with lawyering and law school. But there's actually an entire other area of the law that has nothing to do with cases or legal briefs or arguing, and that is corporate law. And corporate law or transactional law is all about helping businesses enter into transactions or business deals. So reviewing contracts, drafting contracts, and advising clients on terms of contracts to enter into for their businesses. Now, as I mentioned, a lot less attention is given to the corporate law practice areas, both in law school and in general in the media, which is why most of us don't know anything about them. So let's take a look at a few examples. So under the corporate law umbrella, you could have practice groups like mergers and acquisitions, which is one company acquiring another company, or potentially privacy law, which deals with the collection, the transfer, and the storage of personal information. Or real estate transactions, where one company is trying to buy, sell, lease, or develop real estate. On the litigation side, under the litigation umbrella, all of those different practice areas have to do with resolving disputes or resolving lawsuits between two parties having to do with that subject matter area. So, for example, if you're talking about intellectual property litigation, that's usually one party suing another party for the rights to certain intellectual property, like patents, trademarks, or copyrights. You might also have a practice area in insurance defense. So that is potentially one party suing an insurance company for coverage of a claim. Another example is you might have something like family law, where one party is suing another party for custody of a child in a marriage, for example. Now, you might be asking yourself, why are there so many different types of law underneath the litigation umbrella and the corporate law umbrella? And the reason is because these different areas of the law are incredibly nuanced, and it takes years to get to know the controlling law in the area, the common legal issues that come up, and the best practices and strategies to handle those issues. And so that's why most lawyers specialize in a very particular area of the law. Now, in order to sort of think through what type of law that might be for you, whether it's more litigation-based or more corporate-based, is the type of client you might want to work for. And the reason for that is because different areas of the law lend themselves to different types of clients. For example, on the litigation side, certain types of law are tailored for individuals. So family law, immigration law, criminal law, wills and estates, and certain types of law are tailored for corporations. So things like securities litigation, IP litigation, labor and employment litigation, construction litigation, and same thing on the other side. For corporate law, certain types of law are tailored more for small companies. So things like business formation, finance, tax. And other types of corporate law are more specifically geared towards larger corporations. So things like mergers and acquisitions, capital markets, and real estate transactions. The other thing to keep in mind when you're thinking through the different types of law is the legal sector that you're going to be doing this legal work in, because different legal sectors lend themselves to different types of law. So the first type of legal sector is the one that we are most familiar with, which of course is the law firm. And a law firm is essentially a company of lawyers, meaning that lawyers manage the law firm, lawyers are working in the law firm, and the only type of work you're going to be doing at a law firm is legal work. And so when you think about a law firm, you can have a full service law firm, meaning a law firm does all different types of work, both litigation and corporate, or you can have a boutique law firm where that law firm specializes in one particular type of law. The next type of legal sector is working inside of a corporation, also known as an in-house counsel. And what that means is that you are a lawyer who is working literally in a legal department inside of a company. Now, generally speaking, for a company to be able to hire their own lawyer that works internally in a team, they are generally going to be a larger corporation. So think Fortune 50, Fortune 500 companies that have actual teams of lawyers working internally for them. And when you work as an in-house counsel, you are generally doing corporate law types of activities. So you're dealing with regulations, you are dealing with corporate governance, you're dealing with licensing issues, because when a company gets sued, generally speaking, that litigation is going to be outsourced or handled by a law firm that's hired specifically to deal with that lawsuit. Another legal sector you can practice in is the government, and the government has attorneys representing it at every level, both in civil matters and in criminal matters, at the city level, at the state level, and at the federal level. And some government agencies are so big that they require their own lawyers, so government agencies like the SEC, the EPA, or the DEA. Another legal sector that you can practice in is the public interest sector, and this generally refers to lawyers who work for nonprofits that serve underprivileged communities, low-income individuals, other vulnerable populations. And generally speaking, you're going to be practicing the types of law that are more litigation-based, specifically representing individuals. And so think the ACLU, think immigration organizations, think legal aid societies. The other legal sector to be aware of, in case you're interested, is academia. So if you're interested in becoming a law school professor, that's all about research and publications and really doesn't have anything to do with the actual practice of a litigation area of law or a corporate area of the law, but you could teach it instead. So there you have the breakdowns of the different types of law, both in terms of the subject matter and also in terms of the tasks and projects you are going to be working on. So if you guys have made it this far in the video, let me know in the comment section below one type of law that is potentially interesting to you. And if you haven't yet done it, take 60 seconds to fill out the what type of lawyer should I be quiz now that you have a really firm grasp of what those different types of areas of law might actually look like. And I hope that was helpful. I cannot wait to see what types of law you guys are interested in, and I will see you in the next video.